let's talk about it. Come on and shout it. I talk, you talk, we talk. Women talk life, it ain't no surprise. Baby, you could see if you would open up your eyes. You won't understand if you can't open up your mind. So let's stop wasting time when women talk live.
And welcome to another episode of Women's Talk Live. I'm your girl, April J.
I'm your girl, SassyScribe.
And Gail, hopefully she'll be joining us soon.
Yeah.
She got a lot going on, y'all.
Yes, KL is that busy. She's that busy bee.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
She's booked and busy.
Right. So today's show, we are talking about Black women and misogynoir. And this is just an extension on last week's show for Black women and our own protection. So before we get into all of that and continue on with our from last week's show, I know this is still Women's Month, so yes. I wanted to kind of keep with that same theme with our history facts. So the first history fact is jobs that no longer exist. Well, one job that no longer exists that mostly, women held. But in the 1950s, if you picked up the phone, chances are a real person, usually a woman, at a giant switchboard made your call happen with a flurry of cords and lightning fast reflexes. There are well over 1 million of these phone switchboard operators across America. The jobs seem as solid as the suburbs sprouting up coast to coast, but as automated dialing and digital tech dialed is during the 1960s and 1970s, the human number please slowly faded out. Mm-hmm. Today, only a small slice of those jobs remain in place, like hospitals and hotels. A quirky reminder of how quickly technology can hang up on even the most essential careers.
My mother was one of them. She used to work at this place in Annapolis called the Message Center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was years ago. I was little, but I remember that.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. All right. Now let's get into women and their clothes. Victorian women didn't just get dressed. They assembled themselves like fashion skyscrapers. Layers were the name of the game, starting with a split leg drawers, a soft, those corsets, stockings, and boots. They learned fast to put shoes on before they even got all dolled up. Over that went a famous corset, clinging the waist into the ideal hourglass.
Oh, cinching it. Yes.
And then early on, corsets had to be unlaced and relaced every time. But metal eyelets in the 1820s and cleavage front opening busts in the 1850s turned into more of a hook and tighten routine than a full engineering project. By the time the skirt and the corseline and the bustle and outer layers were on, just sitting down gracefully was practically an Olympic sport, all in the name of looking properly Victorian.
Took that man a minute to get to you. It wasn't no quickies going on there.
It took
he had 20 layers of clothes to go through. You couldn't even lift your bustle and skirt up because you had pantaloons.
Yeah, the pantaloons. Yeah, it was like, they
Imagine somebody back there making crotchless pantaloons.
Imagine going to the bathroom.
To a brothel. Right.
Oh my God, crazy.
But in the brothel, back then, all they had on was their pantaloon and bustle, and that was risque.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That crazy. That is like crazy.
Hey, lady,
Hey,
I'm so sorry.
no, we
You're fine.
got your
You're fine.
message. We don't apologize. We
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. We're going through the history facts. So
Yes.
the last one is, for decades, hurricanes had serious sexism problems. They were almost all named after women. Before World War II, storms were usually known by when and where they hit, like the Great Miami Hurricane of 1926. Then a military meteorologist started informally naming storms after their wives and girlfriends, and by the 1950s, officially forecasts were tracking a parade of female named Temptress like Alice, Barbara, and Carol. The idea leaned on the stereotype that women were wild, unpredictable, and destructive. Not exactly a compliment. By the
Can be.
1970s, feminists said absolutely not. And in 1979, the system changed, so hurricanes now alternate between male and female names, turning weather drama into an equally opportunity chaos.
Let me
Man, I
find out
guess.
hurricanes are DEI.
Really, back then they were WEI because none of them was named Tamika,
Well, yeah,
Keisha,
that's true.
Kenya.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
None
Yeah.
of them.
No, no, no.
None of
Yeah,
them.
you didn't hear
They
any
all
of
had
that.
names like Corinne, Phoebe,
Caroline.
Caroline, and
And
Phyllis.
Yeah.
Not that those names aren't in our diaspora, they just didn't think of them
Right.
in
I'm
our
gonna say I know a
diaspora.
And
couple
now,
Phyllises.
and now you have you have hurricanes named after men who can be just as bitchy.
Yes.
When we get a Donald, when we up to the Donalds,
I think every hurricane should be named Donald.
hmm
Donald, Cash, Pete, Jared.
hmm
Just name them. Just
Yes.
use the whole administration.
Yes,
Just
use
use
the whole one.
use the whole
Just
administration.
Caroline. Well, we already got a Caroline, but I mean, yeah, everything, just all of it. Yeah.
And can I say something to Prime real quick? No, I'm not watching that documentary. Stop forcing it on my whatchamacallit.
I
I
know
already
exactly
hit
what you're
not
talking
interested.
about. Oh my gosh.
The documentary of that be
But
best.
yeah,
To
I was like,
be best.
no.
Ain't
I
nobody
was
watching
like,
that bullshit. You the one spent $47 million for some shit ain't nobody gonna watch. And
exactly.
it ain't enough MAGA supporters with Prime to watch it.
Yeah.
Y'all
But
forget where the money at. The money's
but
on the
me
liberal side.
but meanwhile,
Money-
Michelle Obama's biography on
Trending.
Netflix is just trending.
But they did us wrong. We had to check Netflix. We had to check Netflix because we made it number one again, and they recategorized it and put it under children's. Yes, and it was
huh?
trending. It was trending when Be Best, whatever it's called, came out. There
Mhm.
was a campaign on social media where black women was like, since they trying to push this bullshit down our throat, this is what we gonna do. We gonna watch
Yeah.
Michelle Obama's Becoming, and we made it trend again. But I think it had like 15 million streams or something
Oh
like that
yeah,
in
it
the
was
first
yeah, it
weekend.
was yeah, it was. It was number
It was
one.
number one. And then when we went back into Netflix, we couldn't find it because they had recategorized it and put it into children's.
Wow.
And then people posted Netflix's customer service line
Mhm.
and blew that bitch up like, you got us fucked up. Why you move it to children's? It's not a children's documentary.
Yeah.
And they
But
put it
why we
back.
gotta go through all of that? That's the shit I'm saying. Even for Netflix, why put yourself in a position where we have to question your presence or your commitment to black people or brown people? Like, why you gotta? If it's already there, you make your money there. Why try to redirect it so that it doesn't get as much shine because it's my forever FLOTUS?
Right.
I'm just saying,
Right.
like,
Let's
I
say
don't understand.
because the three of us agree. That is our
Yes.
forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I see the videos on on Instagram where they have pictures of Obama and then it has Michael Jackson, You Are Not Alone.
Right.
And I think it was another one called Baby Come Back. Yeah, Baby Come Back. I was like, yo, and they got all these clips of Obama. I was like, yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
there's a 5 minutes from me. There's a guy that had this big, huge flag. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big, huge flag. And every time I ride past it, I say, I wish I had a BB gun so I could shoot holes in it, right? So they ended up taking it down because I guess they got disgruntled with what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But now they like him again. So they put a big, huge sign up saying that 2028. And I was like, praying to the gods. I'm like, God, please put it on Michelle's heart to talk to her man and say that he needs to come back and save us. Because not only would he be, it would be so overwhelming
Yeah.
that they would have no other choice. But she ain't trying to go
I
through
don't
that.
think
Then
so.
she like fuck
I
y'all.
don't think
He
so.
even said
I think the
he
country is
said
so divided, and I think that people are so enamored with this whole white revisitation to the olden times when even poor white people who didn't have what educated black people had, like that sense of jealousy and entitlement, that's something that's psychological. Like, we're not just talking about the superficial layers. We're talking
That's true.
about people who are now being traumatized because they were told their whole life that you're better than this other set of people. And you find out in your day to day, you find out in your personal relationships, if you've ever been involved in any with any of them, that you're not, that you are, you're the tail and not the head in some cases necessarily.
Right.
And that's hard to fathom, especially when you're told they made Jesus look like you. Do you see how deep that goes? When they took the Bible that you're supposed to cherish and live your life according to, they took that and bastardized it to the point where the information is there. You just can't even read it and
No.
visualize that this man with copper hair and feet like burnt brass was not blonde hair, blue eyes. He was supposed to look like you, and you aren't where you feel you need to be. And that has to be traumatizing. That has to be a burden to say, okay, well, I'm told, Jesus is look like me and the world is geared towards me and I have all this privilege and I have nothing. Like, that has to have some type of traumatic effect. So, yeah, I don't know about Obama winning a second term because people are so inundated with this whole I'm better than, and eventually the tide will turn and some of that money will trickle down to me because I'm a cisgender white male. Like,
yeah.
that's
I
just,
don't
I
yeah
don't see that.
I no I kind of think that yeah you do have a group of people the Maganites, you do have them. But if you notice, they're not large in numbers, and you have a lot of younger generation.
I'm
And
sorry.
I think a lot of where they're saying we're the minority, which I so wholly think that is not true anymore.
Yeah.
I think we are.
No, they're so focused on
Yeah. I think that if Obama did, I think that overwhelmingly people will, because I don't think Trump really won. I really
Trump
think
didn't
I,
win.
I
Hell no,
he
Trump
did
didn't
not
win.
win.
No, we know
Kamala
that
won.
Oh,
it's been
fuck
proven. It's
no.
been proven recently, just in the state of Georgia, that Elon Musk messed with the voting
Oh
machines.
yeah,
So
it's
that's
yeah.
been proven.
That's the
So
only
he didn't win.
He
one.
said
Yeah,
No
it. He
way.
said thanks to Starlink.
he
Yeah,
did.
He
yeah,
said it
yes.
himself. He
He
said
But
thanks
he
to
said,
absolutely
Starlink.
did.
but he said it before he won. He said, "Vote for me this time, and you'll never have to vote again." And people just didn't pay attention to it. They didn't pay attention to it, and it's all because it's part of what we're going to discuss today is the misogynoir that is directly centered and affecting black women, and not just black women in power, but all of us in general, all of us. So the term misogynoir is a very descriptive and specific lived reality. It's between anti-black racial, what is it? Anti-black racial hate and misogyny, but it comes more or less in this respect is coming from black men. It's not just racism plus sexism added together. It's a unique blend of prejudice directly, specifically at black women, where their race and gender are inseparable, and how we are perceived and how we are treated. And the term was coined by Moya Bailey in 2008 to address the fact that Black women often face tropes and structural barriers that neither white women nor Black men experience. So the first time I heard the term misogynoir, I was like, huh? And I had to really look it up to understand what it was, because we know Noir is Black. So they just put that the word misogynistic or misogyny, and they just added the Noir on it. And it kind of makes sense when you
I
see
like
some
the
of the
word.
things. I like the word. I knew you would. But when I saw that, I was like, I knew she would like that. I knew she would enjoy that, right? So let me see. When we look at that, last week we were talking about how Black women are unprotected. So it does touch on the fact that it is in the healthcare field, which we touched on last week. But what we didn't get to last week, we're going to talk about today. So remember when Michelle Obama gave her one of her most famous speeches, and she said that for the first time in my life, I am actually proud to be an American, and white people lost their rabbit ass mind. And they said that she came across as an angry Black woman. And
Of course.
we all know in corporate
Anytime
America,
we show any disdain, that's what we are.
right? Any sense of passion, any sense of conviction is seen as
Disagreement with
anger.
the status quo.
Yes, it's seen as us being angry, and it's a trope used to dismiss legitimate grievances or professional feedback as aggression related to Black women. I know when I'm at work, I talk like this. I lower my tone.
That's
I
soft
soft,
voice.
I soft, yeah, I soften my voice because first I'm a dark skinned Black woman, so I'm already seen as aggressive. April, you may not be seen as aggressive because of the
Oh no,
complexion of your skin.
I see.
Till she opened her damn mouth.
There is a pause
Yes,
sometimes when
yes,
folks do discuss. You do have some that are a little bit more conversational with me,
yeah.
but then you do have those that are a little kind of like, okay, it's kind of like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to say it
Right,
in a way.
right.
And, and where I sit is two other Black ladies that sit next to me. And even with them two, it's different because the lady that sit next to me, she's brown skinned. The other lady, she's light skinned. But I notice when they do come over to us, outside of the guy who runs the place, he's just crazy. He's just a crazy white man. But I do notice that they kind of like, huh?
Right.
So and it's like it is. And then I mean even
Because
Do it
and
again,
then,
April. Do it
even
again.
our
Do it
yeah,
again.
even our national
but you got to
director,
think
he
about it.
thought I
And
was upset about a situation. So when he came to me, it was kind of like, hey, is everything good? And I was like, hey, how are you? Oh yeah, everything is one. And immediately it changed how he, because he didn't
approached you.
know whether or not I was angry or whatever. And I said to myself, no matter how angry I get, you will never know it.
No,
Now, you
never,
will never know
not
And
if
that's
I'm
no
angry, if
margin
I'm
for
upset,
chat.
but I don't forget shit. Let's be clear. I don't forget shit. But you will never, ever know if I'm
But
upset
that
or
just
angry.
makes us have to always code switch. We can
you
never
have
be
to.
authentic. But I'm just saying, like, oh, I know we do, but I'm just saying in reality, we're never able to be authentically who we are, even from an emotional standpoint. Like when we talk about how Black men relationship wise and emotional wise are stunted in their ability to, relay how they feel or even give a name to how they feel. A lot of that comes from the fact that we're not able to publicly feel because we never were able to publicly feel. Like even when you go out with your parents, when you were little. Like there were rules that you had to abide by. You couldn't just be a child running wild when you were a kid. It was, you better not ask for nothing, don't touch nothing, don't you go in here acting up. Like even going out was really, it was, there were rules to it. It wasn't an enjoyable thing prior to
Right.
leaving the house. Like other little kids can be like, "Oh, we're going to the park, we're doing this, we're doing that." No, and we're always on edge, not just about how we're perceived, but how our children are perceived when we're in an environment with other kids, because we already know. And I think that that level of, not code switching, but that level of always having to adjust our behavior and our mannerisms and our emotions on a dime, depending on where we are, is harmful to not just our psyche, but to who we are as a people, to how we get along with each other. And I think that that's fucked up on a whole, because they don't have those same issues. Like people always say about our demographic, like, well, why is this or why is that, or why do black women feel this way? It's not, that shit's not created in a bubble. That shit is historically and systematically ingrained in us to behave a certain way. And that's the part that's unfair. That's why when last night, I'll give you an example. My best friend since second grade, we've been best friends since we were 7. That's about 48 years. 48 years of friendship. We go out yesterday to a restaurant, an Atlas restaurant, which I choose not to support, but it's her birthday. That's where we all went. So, of course, we do the Stevie Wonder happy birthday soul
Yes.
clap version.
Hmm.
So, there's a family, and this is when we're leaving. So, I come back in and they're singing happy birthday again, but now they're singing it to a little white boy who's over at another table. And yo, when I say the anger that welled up in me, I had to turn around and leave. I was like, you minstrel ass Negroes. Like, what the, like, I couldn't do it, because it's not the little kid. It's the white people that are sitting there. I'm looking at their faces while they like, these niggas love to entertain. Like, that's their face.
Mm.
Y'all was so disgusted. I got on that damn party bus. I cussed everybody out. I was like, he got a soul clap and everything. And it was for the kid. And I felt so bad and
Fuck that kid.
racist.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
But for
But
real,
that's
like I
like
felt
that's where I am.
it, because I'm so just fucking tired of always having to curtail who I am or lessen my power or dim my light because of a situation I'm in that may be dangerous if I choose to act otherwise. It may negatively impact my business if I choose to act otherwise. And it's so hard to not be who we are authentically, to always have to hold up, don't have that talk with ourselves. I'm sick of talking to myself. I
But
want
see, that's
myself to
part
say
of
whatever the hell I want.
that unwarranted hostility. That I mean, you segue perfectly into that very first point. Once it goes after the angry black woman, it's the unwarranted hostility that suggests that we are born angry or always looking for a fight, which is what you had to do because you got so upset. You had to pull yourself back. Was like, look at this.
Yo, I was mad as
You,
hell.
but you know what? I can understand you being mad. I can. So when we go out in public and do that, we sing the regular happy birthday song. But when we get together, it's like, it's your birthday, happy birthday. You know, we doing all of the other different songs and that's the one y'all should have did, because they never would have been able to recreate that one.
You know, it's so crazy that you say that, because my uncle years ago, my uncle before he died, he had came up with a family happy birthday song. And to this day, everybody and they'll sing happy birthday regularly, and if our family is around, they'll say, okay, sing, all right, we doing the Price happy birthday song,
That's
and
awesome.
we do it. So it's like, but it was a way of him, he did that to basically have our family have a unique identity when it comes to celebrating birthdays, and we still hold on to that. And whether we're in public or whatever, that song is sang. So, but and people kind of like, they'll stop, and then they be like, "Oh,
I
like
never
that."
heard of that one
I was like,
before.
"Yeah, I like that. What's up?" And we was like, "Ah, that's our Price family song." And but it's like, but I think, yeah, you have to act a certain way when you're in public. And yeah, I mean, I'm, as a mother, when some little white kid or whatever, they falling out and everything, first thing look at my kid, I was like, do that if you want to. It's going to be a whole problem up in here.
Sometimes you tell them they got a black mama. Because I would tell my kids, you got a black mama. Like, stop coming in here with these other mama ideas. Your mama is black. We don't do those things. Like a certain list of things you cannot do. Being a person of color, period, point blank, hard stop. Is it right? Fuck no. But we all know those things, just like the talk. I never forget when I read about, I think it was Nas, and I think we had this conversation. Nas was talking to his friend about being a black man in America, and he was like, he said, so what do you do when you get pulled over? Because it's a bunch of you and your friends in a car. He was like, dude, I never got pulled over like that. He was like, so what do you do when the cops tell you got to move or whatever? He was like, man, the cops have never told me to move. And he's going through all of these things that are inherently done to black people that we can all put in as rites of passage of having gone through. And his friend's like, yo, I've never gone through any of those things. And so Nas was like, well, that's why when I tell you that these things happen, or when we were starting to have that big national discussion about, race and marginalization and, that level of criminalization just based on skin color, he was like, yo, you got to believe me. You can't just come and be like, but what if? You got to understand that for me, there's not a what if. My only scenario is this. And that's what people have to understand collectively. Like, how beautiful it must be to just leave your house and go out into the world and not think about anything else.
But we're living it. But they're seeing that happen in real time with these ICE agents towards the Latin community. They're seeing that in real time, and for some of them,
slavery happened in real time, and just because you see it in real time doesn't.
But what I'm saying, they are seeing it on TV, through social media, even though we've been talking about it since before the Rodney King incident. It was not believed. And even after Rodney King, all the way up through George Floyd, it has not been believed. So now it's infiltrated because more of them live in white areas than they do black areas, because let's face it, there's an inherent prejudice from the Hispanic community towards us, and their asses are black. Whether they even Latino, Hispanic, Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean, your ass is black. I don't care how light you are. If you are Caribbean or Latino, you have African roots, period, full stop. And that takes you all the way to South America, all the way up to here. Listen, everybody has the Eve gene, because it's us that created the nations, the world.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because it is coming out. Because I remember watching the Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Gabrielle was it Gabrielle?
Yeah, Gabrielle Bouvet. She's not on there anymore.
She's not on there anymore. But there were instances where things were said by other cast members, and she would pull them up and say, you just don't say this, especially to me being a black woman, because this is the stereotype that's out there about me. Like, I think when
they said something to her son, and she checked that shit immediately.
So like, even like with Kyle said, she had, I think it was like a charity, and she was just like, well, you didn't pay what you said you were going to pay. And she was like, whoa, wait a minute. She was like, I got receipts of what I paid. And then she kind of like, blamed her. And then you saw her sitting down with her and saying, listen, she was just like, this is what you don't do, because we have a stereotype that black women that black people don't pay bills, or we don't pay our, she was just like, and you knew good and well that I did. She said, and I even showed you that I paid. She was just like, and there's certain things that you just don't say because of the stereotypes that's out there and the stuff that we have to go through. She said, when you go into certain stores, she said, are you followed? And then she was just like, like, well, no. Why? She was just like, she says, do they ever look at you like, you can't, why are you in here? What, you can't afford that?
Mm-hmm.
or
Mhm.
they're telling you what the price is. She was just like, and then she was just sitting there. She's
Yep.
like, well, no, she was just like, I have to go through this every single day that I go into a store on Beverly Hills or in a high end
Dale
store,
Drive.
and
Yep.
I'm on, and she said, and I'm on TV just like you. And she had to sit
There
down.
you
She had
go.
to apologize to her for that.
Mm-hmm.
And even with, I think it was Dorit, same exact thing when she called her, "Why are you so angry?" And she was just
Yep.
like, "Wait a minute, what?" And she had to explain to her the history behind that, the stereotypes behind that, the things that she has to go through being an actress in Hollywood for her to, and I don't think she really fully understood what she was saying, even though she, said, "Oh, I apologize. That wasn't my
You
intention."
could see in her, you could see in her face that she didn't really relate. She didn't
No,
understand,
she
but
didn't.
knew she had to apologize.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, they
And they
weren't ready
always
for
did. And
Garcelle because
I think that's why she left the show, because she
mm-hmm.
was saying, I say things and then I'm villainized for it, but
Yep.
Yep.
she could say something and oh, it's okay. She was like, in what world does that work? Don't work for
Yeah.
And you
me.
know what's funny?
Yeah.
I was just telling somebody, I was like, when white women have been virginized so much that anytime, like, I think what did I think I said it to y'all about how white tears equal black blood. When white
Yes.
tears are shed, black blood is shed. And that whole I can do what I want and be a victim, that's the biggest bullshit ever. Like that alone right there. Oh my god, I think that that bothers me more than anything. More than anything. We were in
That
Burlington, and this, you know how the line, you got to come through an aisle to where they have
no.
the little stuff for sale, like your point of sale they want you to grab right before you get to the register, so it's like a little maze that you have to go through before you can
Yeah.
check out at like a Burlington or Marshalls. So I go through the line, and by the time this lady, older white lady, comes in the store, so I'm just waiting for the lady to finish so I can go up to her thing. She walks straight down the aisle of registers to the register and puts her stuff up. So I was like, excuse me. So the lady's black that's going to wait on her, and she's looking at me to say something. I was like, excuse me, I'm next. This old white lady going to say, well, you wasn't in line and you wasn't here. Hold the fuck up a minute. I was like, first of all, you came in, and I know I have to be a certain way when I'm in
Oh,
public,
fuck
especially if
that.
I'm
I'm
wearing,
going full pearl on
especially,
that
hold
shit.
on, no, hold on, especially if I'm wearing my brand, this,
Oh,
my
okay.
business
Okay.
and
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
So I'm
Right.
like, yo, I couldn't hold it in. I was like, excuse the fuck out of me. You came in the wrong line and such and such. She was like, and she looked and she was like, oh, I did. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I started this wrong, didn't I? I was like, you sure the hell did. She was like, I'm sorry, but you got me straight real quick. You did right. Thank you. Thanks for getting me corrected. Yo, when I say it was like a pressure cooker and somebody took the top off, I was still seasoned, but it was slowly. I was like, I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Cause
And then
I'm like, we could go there, me and this little old white lady, and I'm like, you would get beat for the ancestors. That's how angry I can get sometimes when I'm out here and I see all this shit that goes on, and how even the stuff that goes on with ICE. And then I go into Lexington Market or I go downtown Baltimore and I see these people just living life like it's no problem. They are not worried about ICE running up on them. They're not worried about the police harassing them. And I'm just, yo, when I say the level of anger it gave me, I had to literally go to my car and call and be advised to just go home. Like, just come home. Your day is already blown. Like, if you're holding that much anger towards what you see. And I had just been down to the immigration court where they called the young guy that works for us down to immigration with his whole family. No food, no water. He got to bring his family, his infant child. I'm like, yo, the way that you treat people and the way that you act like you don't see how these people are treated, that shit is what pisses me off. Like, you
they
so
don't care.
oblivious to the pain of other people. Yeah, yo, that just bothers me
They
so
don't
much
care.
that you could be so
Be-
lax.
because even when it comes to that whole thing, the inhumanity, the inhumaneness of it all, they don't see us or those Latin people as human. So they feel like
No.
they can subject us to that. But that attitude that you had, that's what they call the attitude and the hyper expressiveness, where it's like, we're depicted in the media with those physical cues as the neck rolling, the finger snapping, or the eye rolling. And when you
Yep,
said you
they
had
can
to,
have all that. They can
when you
have all
said
that.
that, the way in which you said that it was like a pressure cooker, where you
Mm.
literally had to talk yourself down because they think that we're
Yo,
incapable of being, professional and communicating calmly. You were extremely hyper aware, one, of your brand, that you were wearing it. We know we live in a cancel culture. We know nowadays people would do a deep dive. They'll find out your company name, when you started, what your education is, where
mhm.
you live, how many kids you have. So there's a lot of things we got to be a little bit more cognitively aware of, when we go out here. But you're not stepping in front of me. You just not doing it. The other physical trope that they have towards black women, and I know we're running out of time, is it is that we are hyper independent, and they see that hyper independence as aggression. I saw this thread post the other day where this dude was talking about how much money he made, and why would he go for a woman our age per se when he could get himself a younger woman to give him all of the things and the qualities that a woman our age who is bitter.
Who the
It
fuck
all
is
Wait a
better?
minute, wait a minute. He said we were bitter. Now we're talking about, this is the misogynoir, that he's saying that black women are bitter, black women are controlling, black women are oh God. He didn't use aggressive, he used something like confrontational. Confrontational was the word that he used. He said when he can go and get himself a younger, softer, more malleable woman,
Malleable. There you go.
a more
There you
malleable
go.
woman. Because, girl, all I can say is I went straight to the comments. No, I went straight to the comments with my team because they ate his ass up. And because he was saying, if I'm 40 years old and I make $500,000, and girl was like, I looked at your profile picture, you barely look like you make $500 in a week, let alone a half a million
Ooh,
dollars in a
Wow.
year. But it's those types of statements that black men are co-signing. You don't see other groups. Well, now you do. Here now lately, you're beginning to see slowly the manosphere and the broadcasters are becoming Hispanic, they're Asian, even some of the gay the broadcasters are beginning to have these tropes about women of all cultures. But the loudest voice is the voice of the black man, and the negative stereotypes and characteristics. I was saying, telling my friend last night, I said, do you have so many black men that appear to have had such a negative relationship with them, with their mother, or just with the women in their life, that all of us have
mhm.
been thrown under this blanket and under this umbrella of this is every black woman. And I'm also happy to see that we're beginning to see emotionally aware brothers counteract that and start to call these brothers out, especially when it comes to,
Yeah, because I think
because what I was telling him, I
black
said,
women are living their best life. Black women
well,
are living their best life. They're learning
we,
about boundaries. They're learning
yep,
about self-efficacy. They are
yep,
learning about self-maintenance, self-help. They are getting their mental right, their body right. And it's not for a guy. Women last longer. We had this on another show. Go
we
back through
did.
the archives, people, because we had some good shows on this. But in reality, women fare better without men. Like, men die sooner. They have lower health rates, all because we're good. We are good. We are the essence. We are the beginning. And once we get together, all that energy combines. Women are good being by themselves. Women are good being able to travel by themselves, experience things. We're able to have our own money. We're able to buy property. We're able to have businesses. We're able to raise children and have men around that are role models so that young boys and young girls can have that positive male role model influence without having to be in a relationship where you feel you're invalidated or abused or whatever just so they can have a man in the house. Like, times are different. And I think that us being able to be self-aware and self-maintaining is difficult when everybody had us underfoot for so long. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
when Atlas lifted the world, like just watching it raise. That's how I look at black women. I look at us like Atlas. Just give them
Well, the
some
last
braids and some top,
I'm gonna
a little
just skim
man.
through the I'm gonna
Yeah,
skim
we
through the
gotta
last
wrap up.
three. We gotta wrap up. The last three is the hyper independence or aggression because black women take charge. We if we didn't see something that needs to be done, we do it. And black men will look at that and say that we can't be submissive. We haven't allowed to be submissive when we have to be the breadwinner and raise the children and make sure that everything is good. The other one is that
Hmm.
lack of vulnerability that they're saying that we're never allowed to be sad, hurt, or exhausted. And we've all been there where sometimes we got to go in the room and cry by ourselves so that we don't upset the rest of the house, so that they don't know, especially when you're single parents. You got to give that air of being put together, you know what I
Yep.
mean? So that the house will maintain standing. Because if
Yeah,
you crack, everything else is going to crumble.
that's
And
true.
then the irrationality, and I know I get this because I am loud, but it is the loud label. That we are loud and irrational. So, and then the last one, and this is the real big one because the other ones we talked about medical bias last week. We talked about the professional and digital spaces last week. But the next one is the strong black woman, and it's not a compliment. It makes it seem as like we're superhuman, like we don't feel pain, like we don't need support, which it leads us to being burnt out, which we've all felt at some point, and neglect. And the last one that I remember being called when I was young, when I wore this really, 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 really short dress to church, is the Jezebel. The Jezebel. So it's a historical trope. It's a historical trope used to hypersexualize black women, often used to justify violence or dismissive claims of harassment. So it's a
If they
lot of
could see
things
you
that.
now or hear your point of view now,
Oh well,
mm,
look, I can't even tell you what I said yesterday, but I was a contrarian growing up. I deliberately wore little short. I
don't
deliberately
contrarian
wore
now. That's
little
what I love
short
about you.
skirts. I would wear the short skirts just to see
That's
how
what I
many
love
men I
about
could get looking walking up and down the aisle as I went to put money in the plate. And I used to bounce. Ow! Couldn't
you.
tell me nothing. My mother was like, "Don't wear that shit no more." I was like, "Yes, ma'am." Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. So last week, our poll
Oh
question
yeah.
was: have you ever felt unprotected, either personally or professionally? 67% said personally, and 42% said professionally.
Only 42%.
That's
I thought that would be higher,
Yeah. Yep.
especially
I've been.
professionally.
I can't think of any job I've ever had that did not occur. And I've worked maybe because I've worked in predominantly male environments like the state's attorney's office or, like in law and yeah, I've never, even when I worked for the medical, environment, when I worked for a major Medicare provider,
Mhm.
it's always something inappropriate. Like, I don't think, and that's the part that's scaring me now, is that I don't think people really understand what's inappropriate. For a man to put his hand on the small of your back that doesn't know you to open a door for you, that's inappropriate. Like, only thing he got to do is open the door. He wouldn't do that to a guy. You don't have to tell, especially if I don't know you, but you want to open the door for me to walk in, but you got to touch the small of my back to guide me in. Like, I don't know how to walk in. Those
I
things
re-
are micro
that's
sexual
a
Yes.
aggressions. I
Yeah.
remember getting in
Yeah.
the elevator. I had this dress on, and I remember going into work, and I got in the elevator, and the guy in the elevator with me looked at me, and he looked me up and down, and he said, "What you trying to do?" And I was like,
Oh,
"Excuse." I said, "Excuse me." You know exactly what you're doing. And that day, every brother in that building walked past my desk every day, and I pulled his ass up. I said, "I know what you did." And my girlfriend was in HR, and I went straight to her. I said, "You need to get them straight before I go to the ombudsman. You need to get them straight."
Mhm.
I haven't heard
Yeah.
that word in years. I used to be an ombudsman.
Mhm.
Yeah, we still
I've
have
never
one.
heard that word really in
Yeah.
decades.
Yes, yes. And I would,
But
hey,
yeah,
and I
Yeah.
don't want to get brothers in trouble, but what you did
first
going
of all,
around
brothers
telling
get
all the
themselves
brothers
in
go,
trouble.
Yeah.
well, they
I
do
don't
it
think
too.
we should hold people. Hold everybody accountable, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Period.
All
Especially when
right.
it comes
So
to
this week's poll is: have you ever felt judged or disrespected because you are a black woman? So that's this week's poll.
just gave you my example.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. So
Great show,
my
ladies.
my final thought for today is the only time a woman is helpless is when her nails are drying. Yes.
That's a good one.
Because we be sitting there like this. Don't mess with us. Don't.
Right, exactly. So,
Because when they dry and it's time, what are you doing?
right,
Run some cold
exactly.
water under them.
Yeah,
Hey,
There you
yeah.
go.
All right, y'all. This is Women's Talk Live with your girl April J.
I'm your girl, SassyScribe.
And this is KL Boogie.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
When